Good morning, dear students. Last class we studied about Lewis structure, how to represent the Lewis structure. Then what is polar covalent bond? That is the polar character of a covalent bond and covalent character of ionic bond. So today here we are going to discuss another portion, that is valency bond theory. Okay, so what is this valency bond theory? This is the valency bond theory for formation of a covalent bond. So when a covalent bond is formed, that is by mutual sharing of electrons. Now tell me where the electrons are present. So electrons are present in orbitals. Then when the electrons pair, what is the function of this? What is the role of these orbitals? So actually, when a covalent bond is formed, generally formed by the overlapping of electron clouds or the overlapping of atomic orbitals. So the atomic orbitals which contain unpaired electrons, that is single electrons, these orbitals overlap with each other, and in this way they share the electrons to form a bond, and this orbital overlapping is known as covalent bond. So look just one example. So when hydrogen molecule is formed, so first we have written H dot and another hydrogen has also, these two electrons are shared by them and they should form HH bond. Okay, HH bond. Similarly, but you know, when you write the electronic configuration of hydrogen, that is what 1s1. So this is the s orbital, this is the nucleus, and one electron here present, and another s orbital, and this is the nucleus, and one electron present here, just in of opposite side, opposite spin. One spin in this direction, one spin in opposite direction. Then these two orbitals, they merge. So they partially merge. These two orbitals partially merge to form a bond. So this is one and this is another hydrogen. So this is the nucleus. In this overlapping, as a result of this, it forms a bond. So not the inner cells, only the valency cell. Only the valency cells which contains unpaired electron that overlap to form bond. In this formation of H2. So due to this one overlapping, it is forming this bond is like this, and it forms HH hydrogen bond. So this is the HH hydrogen bond. So actually why this overlapping takes place? Look here, this is the nucleus positively charged and one electron present. There is force of attraction between this nucleus to this electron, and also there is a force of attraction between this nucleus to this electron. So force of attraction between this nucleus to electron and force of attraction between this nucleus to electron. And at the same time, so if this type of attraction is there, then it should come and closer to it, and more parts of this should come overlap with it and merge with it. But actually this merging is partial, or this overlapping is partial. So why this happens? Because this is the nucleus, this is the nucleus, there also exists the force of repulsion between them. So due to this force of repulsion, the complete overlapping cannot take place. So because as they have the same charge, the complete overlapping do not take place, and partial overlapping takes place, due to which it forms H2 molecule like this. Okay, so this is known as your valency bond theory. So according to valency bond theory, the equivalent bond is formed by the overlapping of atomic orbital which contain half filled or one electron or single electron, and depending on the extent of overlapping, how much orbital overlap, depending on the extent of overlapping, that is how much orbital overlap, the strength of bond depends. If it is more overlap, then its strength is more. If the extent of overlapping is more, then the bond is a stronger bond. If the extent of overlapping is less, then it is a weaker bond. Okay. So in this way, this is known as your valency bond theory. And this overlapping is again of this type of bond is again of two types. One is known as sigma bond, another known as pi bond. So one is known as sigma bond, another known as pi bond. So when the overlapping of atomic orbitals takes place, when the overlapping of atomic orbitals takes place along the internuclear axis, that means a line, imaginary line, which crosses or which touches the nucleus of two atoms, that is called internuclear axis. So the overlapping which takes place along the internuclear axis, along the internuclear axis is known as sigma bond. That is known as sigma bond. So the overlapping which takes place along the internuclear axis, that means the line which joins the atoms of the nucleus of two atoms, that is known as internuclear axis. Look here, same come to the hydrogen. This is the nucleus, and hydrogen, this is the nucleus. Suppose in this way we write the overlapping takes place, and this is the nucleus. Nucleus is also positively charged, and a line is drawn like this, and which touches the line which passes through the nucleus of these two atoms, that is known as internuclear axis. So this is known as internuclear axis. Two electrons now remain here. Internuclear axis. So this internuclear axis. So this is called a sigma bond. So the overlapping which takes place along the internuclear axis known as sigma bond, and that is overlapping may take place along the SS, SP, and PP overlapping. Suppose there is one s orbital and another p orbital. If overlapping is like this is known as your sp sigma bond. This is known as your nucleus here and nucleus here. This is known as your sp sigma bond. This is ss sigma bond. And suppose this is one p orbital and this is another p orbital is there. So p orbital and p orbitals are there, and this is known as your p orbital and p orbitals are there, and this is known as your pp sigma bond along the internuclear axis. And if the overlapping takes place perpendicular to the internuclear axis, that is called the pi bond. If it takes place perpendicular to it, then that is known as the pi bond. Look here, if this is the px and px orbitals, px and px orbital, other orbitals remain perpendicular to it. So other orbitals remain, so suppose this is the two orbitals, they remain in this way, and another two orbitals are there, they also remain like this. So these two orbitals and another two orbitals remain like this. Okay, so this is x-axis, this is along y-axis, and this is along z-axis. So if one orbitals, if they overlap along here and another side, back side of the whiteboard, another side here, then this forms pi bond. Similarly, if this type is there and one type of overlapping sidewise, these two orbitals come in this way and these two orbitals come in this way. Suppose this is the p orbital, this is not the dumbbell shape, but imagine, suppose this is the dumbbell shape, then the upper lobe and this is the lower lobe. So the upper lobe and upper lobe, they overlap with each other and they overlap here with each other. In this way, it forms a pi bond. So, In figure, we can write, look here, the orbital which is where the overlapping takes place, where the overlapping takes place perpendicular to the internuclear axis, perpendicular to the internuclear axis, and one p orbital is there and another p orbital is there. So these two p orbitals, so the upper lobe, they overlap with each other, and this is the lower lobe also overlap with each other. The upper lobe overlap as well as the lower lobe also overlap with each other. So in this way, it forms, this is the nuclear, suppose nucleus position is there, perpendicular. So the extent of overlapping is not along the internuclear axis, these are perpendicular to internuclear axis. This type of bond is called pi bond. And as a result, actually pi bond is the combination of two electron cloud. So here one electron cloud and here another electron cloud. Two electron cloud, and in between there is the internuclear axis is in between them. So this combination of two electron cloud above and below the internuclear axis gives one pi bond. This is one pi bond, and generally pi bonding takes place by the overlapping of pp atomic orbitals. pp atomic orbitals above and below the internuclear axis. Above and below the internuclear axis. Okay. So let us note down the points, and after that we will discuss some examples. So it is based on the concept of overlapping of half-filled atomic orbitals of combining atoms. The greater is the extent of overlapping. Actually, covalent bond is formed by the combination of, by the overlapping of atomic orbitals. That is known as covalent. That is known as valence bond theory of covalent bonding. Next, the greater is the extent of overlapping, the stronger is the bond, and depend upon the type of overlapping, this is classified into two types: sigma bond and pi bond. Sigma bond, when the overlapping takes place between SS, SP and PP atomic orbitals along the internuclear axis, that is known as your sigma bond. So note down these points. Next we will go to pi bond. Look here, pi bond. It's the covalent bond which is formed by the overlapping of atomic orbitals perpendicular to the internuclear axis is known as pi bond. It is generally formed by the overlapping of pp atomic orbitals perpendicular to the internuclear axis. So this is one p orbital, this is one p orbital, and this is pp overlapping, sidewise pp overlapping, and this is formation of pi bond. So two electron cloud, one above, one below the internuclear axis gives one pi bond. Okay. So then what is the difference between the sigma bond and pi bond? First note down, and after that we will discuss some examples of this sigma bond formation and pi bond formation. So these are the point of difference of sigma bond and pi bond. A sigma bond is formed by the axial or head-on overlapping of atomic orbitals along the SS, among SS, SP and PP atomic orbitals along the internuclear axis, while a pi bond is formed by the lateral or sidewise overlapping of atomic orbitals among PP atomic orbitals perpendicular to the internuclear axis. So the sigma bond is a stronger bond as the extent of overlapping is maximum, and the pi bond is a weaker bond as the extent of overlapping is minimum. There can be free rotation of atoms. So if one atom is there, so one atom is there, one atom. So free rotation of atom along the sigma bond, around the sigma bond along the internuclear axis is possible between the two atoms. Free rotation of atoms is possible. but there is no free rotation of atoms around the pi bonds, but there is one sigma bond and we represent one pi bond. So free rotation is not possible. The bond breaking may take place. Okay, there can be free rotation of atoms around the sigma bond. Free rotation of atoms around the bond is not possible. Bond breaking may take place. And sigma bond can have independent existence between two atoms. Only sigma bond may be freely existence. But whenever there is a pi bond, there should be one sigma bond. After the formation of sigma bond, the pi bonds are formed. So in this way, pi bond exists along with sigma bond. And between two atoms, only one sigma bond is formed, and in between two atoms, more than one pi bond can be formed. And the shape of molecule is determined by the sigma bond, but the shape of molecule is independent of pi bond. Okay, so these are the point of difference. First write down these points. Okay. So now let us discuss some examples. Look here, formation of H2 molecule. Hydrogen electronic configuration 1s1, hydrogen 1s1. So in this way, in box diagram it has 1. And another it has also 1. So these two overlap with each other and we can represent them as opposite spin in this way. So one is orbital of hydrogen, another is orbital of hydrogen. So these two orbital of hydrogen combine to form H2 molecule. H and H. So in this way, hydrogen molecule is formed. HH, sigma bond is there. So the covalent bond is in the sigma type of bond. Next come to formation of HF molecule. So in HF molecule, hydrogen has electronic configuration 1s1, fluorine has electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2pH2, 2pY2, 2pZ1. As Z orbital has one electron or half field, then in this way pZ overlap with 1s orbital. The orbital which has paired electron, they generally do not overlap to form this covalent bonding. So 1s and 2pZ in this way. So for that, only I am writing the valence shell of the last three. This is of 2p3, 1, 2, 3, 2 electrons here, 2 electrons, 1 electron. Z, and this is of 1s, 1 electron among them. This overlapping takes place between these two. So we can arrange this is the s orbital of hydrogen and plus pf orbital. This is the p orbital, this is conversely p orbital of this overlap and it forms HF molecule. This is the formation of HF molecule. This is HF sigma bond. Okay. Next come to another, that is formation of, suppose we consider the formation of F2 molecule. Similar the case of chlorine also. Next come to formation of chlorine molecule. Okay, formation of F2 molecule. In the same way for chlorine, so fluorine has electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2pH2, 2pY1, 2pY2 and 2pZ1. Another fluorine has also 1s2, 2s2, 2pH2, 2pY2, 2pZ1. Mark here, pZ overlap with pZ, py overlap with py, and px always overlap with px. No overlapping takes place between px and py pz, or py with px pz, or pz with px py. Okay, this is symmetrical. So overlapping takes place in symmetrical way. So PZ and PZ in this way. So we can write the p orbital of one fluorine atom and the p orbital of another fluorine atom. These two combine, these two overlap in this way, and there is formation of this is F fluorine fluorine. This is the PP overlapping. Okay, PP overlapping, and this is formation of in this way. This is the fluorine molecule, and here the nucleus is there. This is the formation of FF fluorine FF bond is there. Okay. Next come to another, that is formation of O2 molecule, formation of oxygen molecule according to valence bond theory. So formation of O2 molecule, oxygen molecule. So oxygen has electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py1, 2pz1. 1s2, 2s2, 2p4, 2p4. I am writing like this: 2px2, 2py1, and 2pz1. And another oxygen is also same: 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py1, and 2pz1. Now suppose I write here it is 2p orbital, and here also 2p orbital. It is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and here also 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is opposite spin of these two overlap for sigma bond, and these two overlap to form pi bond. Okay, so 1p orbital along the internuclear axis, another pz orbital and py orbital remain perpendicular to it of one oxygen atom, and plus another oxygen atom, it has also pz orbital along the internuclear axis and py orbital along the inter. So this is py and py. This one is pz and pz. So now overlapping of these orbitals takes place. In this way, overlapping of these two orbitals takes place, and another these two orbitals, they overlap sidewise. So these orbitals move slightly in this direction, and this orbital move in this direction. So overlapping takes place, and this orbital move in this direction. This lobe, this is called one lobe. This is called another lobe. One lobe and another lobe. So this lobe bend and form one bond, and these two lobes again bend. Then the overlapping takes place. This one another bond. In this way, one sigma bond is there. One electron cloud above this plane, one electron cloud below this plane. Or we can say in between oxygen, two bonds are present. So this sigma bond, for this sigma bond, this is one sigma bond, and this two electron cloud makes one pi bond. So if there are two bonds are there, among them one must be sigma bond, then the other one is the pi bond. Okay. Next come to another, that is formation of nitrogen molecule. Formation of nitrogen molecule. Formation of N2 molecule. So nitrogen, what is its electronic configuration? Its atomic number is 7. As its atomic number is 7, atomic number 7, nitrogen electron 1s2, 2s2, 1s2, 2s2, and arrange all electrons according to Bond's rule: 2px1, 2py1 and 2pzy. And another nitrogen is also same, 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2py1 and 2pzy. Now this z orbital of one atom, this is the y orbital, and another remain here, to that I am writing like this, okay, plus this is of one nitrogen atom and this is of another nitrogen atom. This is pz orbital, py orbital and px orbital. Okay, now overlapping of this is pz, px, py. It remain above and this remain below the plane. It remain above and it remain below the plane. Okay, so in this way overlapping takes place. The pz overlap with this pz overlap with pz of another okay, and this is the py and this is py and pz and this is px. Now overlapping of this and this takes place. Similarly, overlapping of this and this flow takes place. Okay, so I have given double mark, single mark, so that you can identify in which direction they overlap. In this way, it forms between nitrogen and nitrogen 1 and these two, this orbital, look here, this one and this one forms 1 by 1. Similarly, when we consider about this one and this one, it will form another pi bond. So if there are 3 bonds are there, among them one is sigma bond and others are pi bond. So between 2 atoms, one is sigma bond and others are pi bond. Only one sigma bond is possible between 2 atoms. If more number of bonds are present, then that are pi bond. So in nitrogen, there is 1 sigma bond and 2 pi bond. 1 sigma bond and 2 pi bonds. So these are some examples of molecules or overlapping of atomic orbitals according to valency bond theory. Okay, so now next come to some other portions. So these are about the formation of only the homoatomic molecules. So homodiatomic molecules and how these polyatomic molecules are formed and what is the molecular shape. All these we should discuss here. So first, you know the valency bond theory. This is the advanced form of modification of Lewis dot structure. And in the Lewis dot structure also, we have discussed some homo and hetero diatomic molecules. But when we consider about the polyatomic molecules, then what is the shape of a polyatomic molecules and how we can determine the polarity of polyatomic molecules, that is determined by another concept that is known as your valency shell electron pair repulsion theory. So this valency shell electron pair repulsion theory is the concept based on this Lewis concept, that is electron distribution theory, how these electrons are distributed. Okay, so next come to valency bond theory. So Next coming to how to determine the shape of molecules. So the shape of a molecule is determined from its electron pairs around the central atom. So if the central atoms in a molecule, suppose you consider about phosphorus pentachloride, you consider about ammonia, consider about methane. So methane carbon is the central metal, so central atom. Carbon is the central atom. In ammonia, nitrogen is the central atom. In phosphorus pentachloride, phosphorus is the central atom. And all other atoms are surrounded. So what is the shape of these molecules? The shape of this molecule is determined from its electron pairs. The arrangement of electron pairs around the central atom. So this theory was given by Sidgwick and Powell in 1940. And actually, you know, whenever a bond is formed, generally bond is formed by the overlapping of, by the sharing of electrons, and when the central atom has if one unpaired electron, and it is formed bond with the surrounding atoms which have also another unpaired electron. In this way, the central atom is surrounded by so many number of unpaired electrons and so many number of paired electrons. So the unpaired electrons around the central atom forms bond pairs with the surrounding atoms which have unpaired electron, and the paired electrons that remain as lone pair or unshared pair. Okay. Again I am repeating. So the central atom surrounded by unpaired electrons and some paired electrons. The unpaired electrons around the central atom form bond pairs with the unpaired electrons of surrounding atoms, and the paired electrons remain as lone pair. Next, so being similarly charged, the lone pair electrons as well as the bond pair electrons want to repel each other, and the force of repulsion among them is not same. So being similarly charged, the electron pairs, that is the lone pairs, bond pairs, all these pair of electrons, they want to repel each other. So the molecule adjusts themselves in such a way so that there exists minimum repulsion between them. And for the minimum repulsion, they want to remain in a maximum distance. For the minimum repulsion, they want to remain in a maximum distance. If two substances are there and then there exists repulsion, then if you keep it more closer, then the repulsion is more. If you keep it in more distance, then the repulsion is less. So in this, the attractive force depends on distance. Similarly, the repulsion also depends on distance. So the molecule adjusts themselves in such a way so that there exists minimum repulsion between them. And for minimum repulsion, they want to remain in maximum distance apart. And the force of repulsion among the bond pair lone pair in all cases is not same. The lone pair repulsion is greater than the lone pair bond pair repulsion than the bond pair repulsion. Okay, so these are the postulates or some points of valence shell electron pair repulsion theory. You note down this, and you know in surrounding there is some disturbance, some noise is coming here. So in this way, just today you write down these notes, and we will discuss what are the shape of molecules, and I will explain about this valence shell electron pair repulsion theory in next class. Okay, so just you write down these points. So this is also important for long question, of this chapter. What is the valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, and explain the shape of molecules or determine the shape of different molecules. In the next class, we will discuss some examples how to determine the shape of molecules from this valency shell electron pair repulsion theory.